Hi, and welcome back to Sandy Slant on Everything. Let's see. Give you an update because it's been a little while again. We're going to get better at this. We are. But we sold the house, this house that you're looking at now. Let's see the kitchen. Yes. It now belongs to an Air Force officer and his nurse wife. And thank you for buying our house, and I hope you love it as much as we did if you get to see this vlog. And thank you to Deanna, the one you met as my two-man support group. She was our realtor, and she did an excellent job and got it sold over the weekend. We went away for the weekend, and we got quite a few bids, and we had to decide, and we picked the ones that ended up getting it. So we're very happy. We have this house sold, and we have a house bought in Panama City, Florida, and we will be leaving at the end of May. And mid-May, a couple days before that, will be my son's graduation. He's the very last to graduate, and we are very happy about that, and a little sad, but you know, it is what it is. He's coming with us, so it's not like we'll miss him, but we will miss the other two that are here. They're going to be in Denver, my two girls, and we have two more in Virginia Beach, so we'll be closer to them and further away from the two that are here, which is just switching it up because we've been away from them, the ones in Virginia Beach, for 7 years now. So it'll be nice to see them and our granddaughter, who is in Virginia Beach. So that's exciting. And that is really pretty much our update. It has been crazy with the staging. That's mainly why the vlog didn't happen for a little while. And if you've ever bought or sold a house, it is crazy. You have handymen and housekeepers. Thank you, Pam, for doing such a great job. And we had window cleaners and carpet cleaners and just people in and out of the house. And that ended up giving Bambi, poor little Bambi, you'll see her when I talk about my subject, but poor little Bambi got bleeding intestines from the stress, which is funny because my feeding tube, which all you see, my little feeding tube, can't get the pump in the shot. My feeding tube, we're pretty sure comes from stress. So for her to get gastrointestinal problems from stress was just like, I thought you were supposed to look like your dog and not have medical problems like your dog. But she did. She's doing fine now. She is much perkier and doing much better, but it'll take a little while to get over, what is it called, hemorrhagic gastroenteritis. And it just means a bleeding gut. And but she's now with no stress because we're done with everything, just waiting on the paperwork. And so for the next 3 weeks or so, we'll just be catching up on some things, hopefully adding in a few blogs. We have missed blogging quite a bit. It's been weeks, and we want to do it. We want to get to a point of a daily vlog and show you what's going on in our lives. And my aunt said that she's enjoying them. She says she's actually addicted to them. Hi, Aunt Ann. And so we want to have it so that she can see those and other people, anybody who is interested in chronic illnesses and the stuff that we do talk about, but also our daily goings on, which sometimes is pretty fun. And but my subject for today is anxiety versus panic, because they're kind of interchangeable. So I recorded that earlier out on the front porch because it's a beautiful day, and we haven't had a beautiful day in a while. So I was taking advantage of it. But and I will tack that here on the end. So we'll be right back. Bambi wanted to be in the middle of it. Today I thought I would talk about a question that a lot of people ask me. I have a panic disorder. And a lot of people will say, oh, I've had a panic attack. That's really awful. Yes, they are very awful. But the question that comes up a lot is, what's the difference between anxiety and panic? And there is a definite distinction. In fact, my son's psychiatrist actually asked me to explain it to him once, and I thought he was kidding because he's a psychiatrist. But they become such interchangeable words that people think they're the same thing, and they're not. We'll start with anxiety, because we all know what anxiety is, right? We've all been in a situation where we're dreading it, we don't want to do it, there's a test at school, it makes you anxious. And anxiety is a normal, very normal thing. And so you're going to feel that anytime that there's something that is bothering you, or is coming up, or whatever. But what you're going to feel there is scared, but you're going to be perfectly rational. You could tell someone else what is bothering you. You could go to a yoga class. You could do some deep breathing. There's a list of things that can calm down an anxious person, and they work. They do work. Sometimes it can even be that your water level's low, just the same as depression can be caused by dehydration. Medications can cause anxiety, and they'll usually list it as anxiety on the medication listing. The part that is different between a panic attack and an anxiety attack is that when you have a panic attack, it a lot of times starts from anxiety, from something that was bothering you. But it could just be that your stress has been too high for too long and something goes wrong. In my case, they really actually don't know. It's been going on for 27 years. And when it first started, I thought I had a stomach virus, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't stop throwing up. And I had to go to the hospital. I was going to die. I had to go to the hospital. This is what you'll hear a lot from a panic attack. And people think they are dying for one reason or another. First, getting in my face. You're such a little shedder. And the person will usually think they're having a heart attack, or they're going into shock. I go into shock quite often. When it gets bad enough, I'll start to shake, and I'll usually ask my husband, is it cold in here? And he'll tell me no. And I'm like, I'm going into shock. And that'll be the beginning. But then after that, things go irrational. I start saying things like, I'm dying. I know I'm not dying. 27 years now. If I was going to die, I'd be dead. And that is the major distinction, is whether it's rational or irrational. And the thing that somebody would be like, well, what's wrong? What's bothering you? You can't answer it. There's no answer. And you'll just be scared or terrified, and there's no real reason for it. And that it just keeps increasing, and it increases and it increases, and sometimes they're almost impossible to stop without going to the hospital, and the hospital then gives you medication, and I call it drugging you down, so that they can calm you down. And breathing techniques, things like that, don't usually work very well. So because it's not rational. Your brain is no longer thinking. And in anxiety, it's still related to your amygdala, and all that, which is, as my therapist would say, if you point right here, and right in between is where it's located. And it's a little bitty thing, and that's where your fight or flight or freeze, now they call it fight, flight, or freeze apparatus is located, and it sets off your adrenaline. And that happens in both cases, with anxiety and panic. But with anxiety, it can be calmed down. And it's usually some circumstance, something that's happening right now, something that really exists that's going off. But with panic, it is a case of your fight or flight has gone haywire, and it is just setting off for no reason at all. And it can come from something that's happened to you in the past, and you don't even know why it's going off. There's a possibility that there is something in your past that sets it off, and that a trigger did set it off, but you won't know it. It could be something that you saw out of the corner of your eye, or you heard it and didn't even really hear it, and it sets the whole thing off, and the fight or flight goes crazy, and it can't be controlled. And you have to get help to get it under control. And so in my case, I have a panic disorder, where that is where it has jumped one more level, and you are afraid of having a panic attack in public, throwing up in public, passing out in public, freaking out in public, that the whole world is going to think you're crazy. Some people become agoraphobic because of it, and they'll stay in their house and they won't leave. But I've been able to keep it under control with medications. In my case, benzodiazepines for years. Still on a benzodiazepine now. It's Klonopin. This is not sponsored by people who make Klonopin. Thank you. Let's make that clear. But the Klonopin has kept the panic disorder under control, but I get breakthrough anxiety. And I didn't used to get anxiety, which is sort of a new one for me, or not much anxiety. I would just get the panic. But I'd rather, if you got to pick, take the anxiety over the panic disorder, because it's very hard on you. And in years and years of therapy, we've talked about the somewhere in your mind there is, I don't know if you know the old story of the paper tiger, that there is a tiger in the bushes, and it could either be a paper tiger that somebody put there and it's fake to just ward people off, or it could be a real tiger. And your fight or flight doesn't know the difference. It knows you're in danger and it sends you running, or it freezes you, or it, or you take a stance to fight. I don't know if you're going to fight a tiger. But then after a while, your brain doesn't know the difference, and it can never distinguish danger from not danger or whatever, and it will set off for no reason. That's part of the panic, because the anxiety has a reason. It has a thing, a circumstance. The panic doesn't. It just, you could just be watching TV and bam, you're terrified. And you have no idea why, and you're shaking, and you're going to have a heart attack, and you're going to die, and no matter what anybody tells you, it doesn't make any sense. They'll tell you you're not going to die, you're not going to die, you're fine. I just, took your blood pressure, or I just checked this, or whatever, and they'll tell you you're fine, but you're not. And so the real difference is the rational from the irrational. And that is not normal for panic. Anxiety is normal. So I know that in this day and age, people are becoming more anxious because of screen time, but don't stop watching. But your brain needs a chance to slow down Your brain needs a chance to actually get bored. The thing we, as kids, as older people, as kids would avoid like the plague if we could, but we still got bored. And that's where your creativity comes from, and your time for your brain to settle down and to process what has happened to you lately, what's making you stressed, and things like that. And if it doesn't have that time, if you're always in screen mode, or you're always, things are coming at you, you know, it's the TV, it's whatever advertisements or whatever are always coming at you, they're on the radio, they're whatever. Your brain doesn't have enough time to process what's happening and go, okay, this is not going to hurt me, and this is going to hurt me. And if you don't give it that time, you will grow up to be me. Mine is accidental. I mean, we have no idea what caused it, but you can grow up to, or get older and develop a panic disorder, or develop such high anxieties that you are just anxious all the time, and it's very painful to be anxious all the time, as some of you probably already know. I mean, having chronic illnesses will give you anxiety a lot of the time, and it's hard. It's so very hard. But that's the differences between anxiety and panic, is whether it's irrational or not, whether it's a true thing, or it's just something that popped up and your head just released chemicals that it shouldn't have. And there are medications out there for both, but they are not usually the first course of action. If you can find where the stress is coming from and get rid of it, it's the better thing to do 100 times over. I have memory loss because of the benzodiazepines for so many years, and so they really try not to just stick anybody on, anti-anxiety medications as quickly as they can, or will just make you feel better by giving you a medicine right now, and sometimes they'll make you feel a little uncomfortable at the doctor's office, like you're a drug seeker or something, but Dandy's back up again. And but it's for a reason. The long-term effects of benzodiazepines are memory loss, and there's a list, you can look it up. And let's start from the beginning. That would be the Xanax, Ativan, and Valium. Valium was first, Xanax was second, Ativan was third, and then came Klonopin. Klonopin is a long-term, you take it every day, 3 times a day, and it keeps a level. The other ones you take as needed. And but I wanted to explain what the differences were, because I get asked this a lot. I'd be surprised, because people ask, well, what else do you have other than being on my feeding tube? That they'll ask, what other chronic illnesses do you have? And I'm like, well, this one's more of a mental illness, but it is chronic, and it's going to be there forever. There is no cause. There's nothing for them to dig up and say, oh, well, when you were younger, this happened. That's not the case. You be quiet. There's a dog walking by. Bambi likes to make sure that we're all protected, but it's a dog on a leash. You be nice. You be nice. And say hi to the dog. You be quiet. So, that's my explanation of panic disorders, or panic attacks versus anxiety attacks. So what you're feeling probably, or have felt, is probably anxiety. If you feel that it's something more, and you've ended up at the hospital feeling that you're having a heart attack or whatever, then I would recommend seeing a therapist and seeing if they'll teach you tools to handle it. Whether they can fix it all depends on how it happened. But they can give you tools to make your life easier. Well, thanks again for watching. And if you are enjoying these videos, hit the subscribe button below and or the like button, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys, and please feel free to share. We'd love to have more people and build this up and make a community out of it. So thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.